The location of your story is not a character. Location is setting, and setting is storytelling. Let's back up for a second. Something you will hear a lot from classmates in writing workshops to famous writer-directors giving interviews is this. They'll say, I wanted to elevate the location to a sort of character. Stop right there. I mean it. I know I've used those same words myself before, but what people mean when they say that is that they want to engage with the location of the story as if they were engaging with a character of the story. It means they want the location, the place, the time to have a more active role in the storytelling. But that doesn't make it a character. Place and time is setting, and strong setting is good storytelling. I wanted us to take a moment to reframe what's going on here, and I think it starts with how we teach and learn the idea of setting in the first place. Let's take a famous example, perhaps the most famous example of characterizing the setting, and then look somewhere that can point us to a better way of thinking about it. We'll start here. Batman is a character. Gotham is a setting. Gotham is not a character in Batman's stories. It cannot be a character. As active a role as Gotham City might play in the story, it will not play that role the same way a character can. While a city may have needs, Gotham needs to be saved, DC needs to stop having its monuments blown up by aliens. DC the Washington, not DC the comic, just to be clear. The city cannot have wants. It cannot have desires the same way a character can. It cannot make choices unless your setting is the living island from the movie Life of Pi and the novel it's based on. Your setting cannot engage with the story the same way a character can. But we are engaging the setting in the story, and that's where this sort of misconception comes from. So what's the mistake in how we're taught about setting, how we teach it? I want you to think about middle school book reports. I want you to think location tags in social media posts. Think slug lines in a script. We are taught that setting is a one-word answer, like the short answer to a question on a test. The title is blank, the main character is blank, the setting is this year in this place, almost as if the setting is a checkbox. But it's a fully fledged element of storytelling, all in its own right, just like character, but it's not character. We can engage with the setting more than a one-word response, just like we detail the characters in our book reports, just like we follow the characters through the scene, but what we are doing at that moment is lighting up the setting element in our storytelling control panel. The protagonist makes a decision, and character lights up on that control panel. The antagonist says a line of dialogue that aims to teach the protagonist a lesson, and theme lights up on that storytelling control panel, okay? We describe those characters' surroundings in a way that heightens the emotions via their sense of place and time. That should light up setting for you, not character. Think about our storytelling control panel, all of the elements that we have command of. When you engage with place and time to heighten what's going on in the story, we are no longer talking about character. We are talking about setting. Setting is just such a richer element of storytelling than people give it credit for. Gotham City is not a character. Gotham is a city so corrupt that its buildings are falling apart. Gotham is a city so drowning in the constant grief of its people, of its hero, that it never stops raining. Gotham is a setting, and the setting of the Batman stories is more complex than a single word answer can do justice. Pun intended. Gotham is personified through Batman, almost as if he is an avatar for the city itself, almost as if the city itself has become a character. But Gotham City is not a character. It is a setting, and engaging with setting is storytelling, a very important element of storytelling. It's just that our idea of setting is so stunted that the only way we have to describe it is to compare it to character building. So I wanted to share a video with you that I think gets to the heart of what the potential is that we're not always tapping into because we get so fixated on things like character and theme. In their wonderful video, Listening to Toy Story, the Royal Ocean Film Society, run by Andrew Saladino, talks about Gary Rydstrom's work on the sound design for Pixar's debut film, Toy Story. I will put the link to the video in the description so you can check it out yourself, because Royal Ocean's take on it is just a joy to watch, and it really reframed a lot of things for me. So here's the point. To flesh out the world of Toy Story through sound, Rydstrom worked for a balance between objective sounds and subjective sounds, a balance between realistic sounds and stylized sounds. To better tell the story of Buzz Lightyear's journey throughout the film, Buzz's sound effects are much more subjective for the portion of the film where he believes he's a spaceman. We hear his own sounds from his own perspective. His breathing apparatus sounds like an astronaut's, but the moment that he hits the floor in Sid's house, his illusions about himself are shattered. His toy status is cemented, and at that moment, the sound effects become much more objective instead of the grandiose sounds of a spaceman's suit collapsing at the bottom of a chasm. All we hear is the sound of plastic striking the floor. Rydstrom is engaging the element of sound design to better tell the story of Buzz Lightyear's journey. Boom. Sound design lights up on the storytelling control panel. This story, to me, and I hope now to you, was really a challenge to see the storytelling potential in other elements, other than just character and theme, who seem to get all of the attention. It was a challenge to see how every element of a story can have something to say, some way to heighten what's going on in the story. Whether you're looking at a story that's written by a single person, or you're watching a movie that's assembled by hundreds of different people who all have their own roles. The collaborative nature of film is one of the genre's greatest and most unique strengths. Everyone who comes to the table has to do their job to better tell the story in their own particular way. The costume designer has to put together ensembles of outfits that tell the story through the clothes the characters wear. The sound designer has to choose and edit the audio experience to tell the story through what we hear. The production designer and set dressers have to design places, locations that tell the story through setting. More than any other genre, film shows us how different elements of storytelling can be engaged to heighten the story, because every element is up to a different person and their department to use their specific talents. When you're writing, whether it's a screenplay you're writing before it gets sent off to production for a whole team of collaborators to work on, or whether you're working on a novel that is a simple story that's all you from start to finish, it is still up to you as the writer to engage those elements on your own and to use the various elements of your story to create a more complete whole. A setting that is engaged with your story and that harmonizes with your story and tells it more completely, more deeply. It hasn't become a character. That's just good setting. We've merely become accustomed to turning our brains off about setting after we've answered the question, where does the story take place? But setting is so much more than that. It is, how does the place tell the story? How do the sound effects tell Buzz Lightyear's story? How does Gotham City tell Batman's story? Next time you feel the temptation to say that you felt like the location of the story was its own character, pause and think for a minute. Let's let setting have its moment. As a storytelling element, it's not a character, it's the character's place and time. And if written, appreciated, and analyzed well, it can be about so much more than that too. Thanks for listening. Keep writing.